Hello and welcome. Today we're coming to you from the Virginia International Raceway and their grand layout. So it gives you an extra little loop in Sector 2 that gives it a whole load of character. It's kind of like a big Cadwell Park. It's fantastic, this circuit. I love it. We've got a 25-minute race on the 7th of July 2024, starting at 10 o'clock in the morning, real time, real weather, standing start. Pit stops allowed, and a default progressing circuit. Our opponents will be a full 24-car JCW Mini Grid, maxed out AI, because the AI needs work here, but it still provides a really good race. A 1.00 wet skill scaler, which we're not going to need, medium aggression, standard mistakes, and we're going to be starting from last. So you're going to see a nice, relaxed, work your way up the grid to get as high as you can type race today. So, without further ado, let's get trackside and let's go racing. Just thought better of that one. Didn't feel like it was going to end well. And I felt like, of the two of us, it should have been me that gave it up. So it's a very late move on the brakes there. That was a bit rude, that. It was kind of lucky that I was able to back out of it. Very slow through that section there. Not really close enough there, are we? Would have been a bit of a lunge. I think the move is on though, there. But just not that lap. Got to be a bit closer. There used to be dynamite through that last corner, and they used to get a really good run in the straight. That looks like that's been pegged back a little bit now. Oh, just got it stopped in time. That was really close. too tight on the apex set. Ah, nice run. Nice. This really is an amazing layout, this circuit. I love this track. A bit smoother this time. He's still on the outside though, but the inside line's much more efficient. They take a bit of a tight line, like a defensive exit from there. Gives you the chance to get on the throttle earlier and just run it on the outside of the curb. Can we get Taylor as well? Yeah, take advantage of their slowness into the hairpin. Missed the apex on the left at the top of the hill there. Now this bit is very similar to Cadwell Park in that you can really take the mickey out of the curbs without getting a track limit abuse warning. And the AI doesn't. The AI plays fairly, and if you play fairly, you're about the same sort of speed. But you've basically got lap time in your pocket. Ideally, I think the track limits would be a bit more strict. Same as Cadwell, really. Too much curb there. Oh, see you later. Have a look at that, lap 4. We'll be able to get him into the left. Yes, this is ours. That's tempting, but I don't think I'm quite... No, I don't think that's really quite close enough. I'll be a bit further along than that, I think. Left front struggling a little bit, it feels. Oh, it's not massively hot though, but it does feel like it's struggling. Locked up the rear a little bit there. Bit late on the upshift there from second to third. Yeah, you see how much time they lose. We might be able to get him into the left. That was tight. That was really close. Oh, he actually turned in on my rear quarter there. Really struggled to turn the car. pace is feeling like it's starting to bubble up a little bit now. We're getting to the interesting part of the race now. I didn't think that through very well, did I? So we can tag on to Daniel. Yeah, so the last part of the braking there, you see we were sort of level pegging in the early part, and then they seem to roll off the brakes. Strange. Sorry, I should say, no, sorry, I roll off the brakes and they sort of stay on them for a bit longer, which then means we then gain a number of kilometres an hour difference and get the overlap. I've really enjoyed this race so far. This has been absolutely fantastic. Got one of them anyway. Could get interesting. Wasn't giving that one up. Hold a nice tight line on the middle part of that, just to make sure he can't try and cut back in. I thought that was going to happen. I didn't want to go up against Collins in the red car. I wanted to only get Bailey in the orange car. But Collins slowed down more than I wanted him to, so I kind of had to commit to it. Yeah, I had to sort of overlap on Collins to make sure of the overlap on Bailey didn't come back his way again. Probably have an apology to Collins after the race for that one. Because I stuck my nose in the place where it didn't belong, basically. It's not going to work this lap, Andy. Go, I think. Bit optimistic, really. Oh, too fast in. Oh. So we have 2 more laps. It's getting a bit feisty, isn't it? Starting to lose the front end a little bit. It's expected, but it hasn't got the same, not sort of biting into the apex like it was earlier on. Oh, good run, lovely run. Oh. You should have given that up really there, I think, personally. That was really close. Whoa, easy. I can only assume he was too busy watching Matt Bell than watching me. Eyes on the road, mate. Whoa. Why are you so slow? That was a bit naughty. Now, if that was a human, I'd have said 100%, you've just brake tested me there, buddy. Now, I'm not going to be too fussy about how I overtake you now. So if I get the chance. Yeah, see how much we gapped him with just that one corner. Yeah, we can see there the difference in lap time ability. So we, even on 120, we got a big advantage over them. We gapped him by 1.5 seconds in just the second and third sector alone. But that was really enjoyable. That was great. Some questionable manoeuvres there from the AI, but nonetheless, really very, very enjoyable. Right, let's skip the cooldown lap. So we got it by 1.6. So yeah, we overtook him in the S's just after sector 1, didn't we? At the start of sector 2. So in literally 2/3 of a lap, we've gapped him by 1.6 seconds. So and that's on 120. So the AI needs to be looked at 100%. I'll log that and raise that with reiza after the race. But so fastest lap was a 2:40.2. Matt Bell did a 2:42.3, 2:41.8. So at best, they're 1.6 seconds a lap slower. You're looking at 2 seconds a lap, really, I would say, if you include the first sector, because we never got a clear lap. So I reckon you're looking at 2 seconds a lap. So yeah, it's a lot of work to do there from reiza. But anyway, let's leave that there. Let's get into the summary and let's unpack it there, shall we? We'll see you in just a second. That's a nice race, that. It was enjoyable. It's sort of nice and relaxing race. I don't very often get races these days where I can start from the back and work my way through to the front. Not since 1.6 was released anyway. Now there is an issue here though, is that I was able to do that with the AI at 120, and you shouldn't be able to do that with the AI at 120. So I will be reporting the speed issues with reiza, so they have an opportunity to do something about it when they can. I'm not expecting it to happen anytime soon, but when they come around to it, it would be quite cool if they could just improve the AI's speed and strength on this circuit. And there are some key places. It's mainly in the middle sector where they're slow, it seems. So yeah, it needs to be looked at, really. The circuit itself, though, is absolutely lovely to drive. It's kind of like a big Cadwell Park, really. Very, very nice, and it's a very different. It's weird, you know. So the grand layout versus the international layout, it feels like a completely different circuit, even though it's sort of like 60% the same. Yeah, it feels like a very, very different place, but really, really lovely, and it would be great to do a really long endurance race on this layout. It'd be fantastic. Unfortunately, the grid size is a lot smaller than what the international is, even though it uses the same pits as what the international layout uses. It's got, I think, a 28 car limit for this layout, and the full one's 48. So again, I'll raise that with Reiza as well and see if they can do something with that. There may be reasons why it's that way, but it'd be quite cool if you get 48 cars in this layout. That would be absolutely mega. That'd be brilliant for a long endurance race with this sort of car. Yeah, car wise, getting more and more used to the 1.6 changes on the JCW. Now it's basically just got a finer feeling on the edge of grip, both front and rear, but you notice it more on the front. Just have to be a bit more mindful with how you weight the front tyres on the brakes, really, and just be a bit more delicate and a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? A bit more deliberate. And then when the front of the car is ready for you, it will let you know. And as long as you've got your timing right, it will allow you to get on the throttle and get out the corner as quick as you can. If you do it too early, if you brake too heavily and you load the front tyres up too much, they'll never really bite. You'll never get that message. You'll get on the throttle and it will wash out wide. If you don't weight the front enough on the brakes, the front will never really bite. You'll get on the throttle and it will wash out wide. So you just gotta make sure you're in that butter zone when you weight the front wheels on the brakes. And yeah, it will let you know when it's ready, and then you can then get going. And because it's got that limited slip diff on the front axle, when you get on the throttle, it can actually help to bring you in towards the apex as well when it's all right. But if you don't weight it properly and you get on the throttle before it gives you that message that it's good to go, what will happen is that you'll get on the throttle and it will actually drift you out wider. So you've got to be a little bit mindful of it. But yeah, it's just about consistency in your driving. Make sure you get it where it needs to be, and then go. Yeah, the work I did with the Cobra Mini and the Vintage Touring Car Mini helped with that, because they're very critical to get the braking right for that same reason. And they've got an open diff, which makes it so that when you get back on the throttle again, if you don't weight it properly, they're even worse than what this Mini is for drifting out wider. So yeah, the work I did with those really helped improve my braking techniques, and the technique you use will change according to what sort of corner you're at and where you need the weight on the car. And so there's an awful lot going on there. It's just practice, really. I almost forgot. We've got a few incidents to look at, haven't we? So we've got the first lap where I just want to see if I was right to feel a little bit aggrieved by the car moving across in the braking zone in the top double right hand corner. We've got McKenna's spin on lap 4, memory serves, where it looked like he lost the rear of the car on the brakes. And then I think it was the lap after that we were overtaking Shaw, and we'd made the move stick, and it felt like they'd turned in on the left rear quarter of my car, and I really struggled to turn the car. So we'll have a look at that as well. And I'll have a quick scan through the replay, and I'll just see if there's any other incidents that might be helpful to Reiza to see as well. So we'll see you in just a moment with those. So here we are, we're coming through the S's now, with Campbell near us. I backed out of that move there. It was my move to back out of. I shouldn't have really put myself there. Then we're coming up to the double right, and he definitely moved over there, didn't he? And now I felt a bit aggrieved by that at the time, and I kind of feel like I have every right to be as well. Let's bring that down to half speed. So I've positioned myself really clearly here. I've made my intentions perfectly clear, and it's now he's already on the brakes. He was already on the brakes, and then he started to move. Right, so he's on the brakes now, and then he's moved and then jinked across. I hadn't changed my line until such time as he was coming over. Yeah, I stand by my reaction on that one. I feel I've got every right to feel a little bit aggrieved by that, because that could have been really nasty. Because if you come into that corner, which we'll see in the next incident with McKenna, it can go very nasty very, very quickly through here. It doesn't take much, and you'll find that one or two cars can very, very easily end up in the fence there. So yeah, I feel quite justified. I don't know if it's worthy of an actual report to Reiza, because in real life you would get people do that. That's something that you would see. So I mean, yeah, I'm in two minds about it. Maybe I could report it anyway. It's better to report it as a potential issue, and then say, no, that's just normal, mate. That's just how it's supposed to be, versus me not reporting it and then wishing that I had done. So, yeah, right. Let's move on to the next one, which should be McKenna's moment losing the rear going into that same corner. I'll see you in just a moment with that. Okay, so here we are with McKenna's car now. We are going to see him come up to the double right and lock his rear end, I think, from what I remember of it. It happened very, very quickly, though. Let's see if we get a... Oh, it's not really going to show it, is it? Oh. Yeah. Did you see that? It was like he had literally locked the rear wheels. Let's... There's actually quite a good angle of it as well. So let's have a look at his rear wheel. Does it lock? It doesn't, does it? Okay. Let's go to chase view. Grab this. Let's look at his outer rear wheel. Does that lock? Let's slow it right down now. No, so there are no locked wheels there at all, are there? He's not locked anything, so what's happened to him? That's bizarre. That's really, really odd. Okay, let's go back. Let's go into cockpit. Let's put my headset on so I can hear it. I can't explain that. There was no... It didn't sound like he'd locked up or anything. That was bizarre. That literally just snapped away from him for... It was like he'd driven on ice. That was bizarre. He didn't put it on the grass, did he? He didn't put it... No. No. That's just weird. Okay. Well, we'll send that to Reiza because obviously, you know, there's an incident there that we can't explain. The way the car snapped looked very much like it locked a rear wheel. But the replay doesn't show the locking of the rear wheel, nor does the audio sound like he'd locked a rear wheel. So yeah, we'll send it on and see what they say. Right, next up, I believe it's the overtake with Shaw to see how, when he turned in on my left rear corner, how it affected my car. We'll see you in just a moment with that. Okay, here we go then. This is now me versus Shaw. I've put the right hand offset on the view so that my screen doesn't interrupt the viewing of it. So I take the move here, and then Shaw. Now that looks really subtle, but in the car, that felt really, really horrible. It felt like I just could not turn the car. Yeah. So what's the best way to get this? Let's go back a bit further. Right, let's come around all the way around. Very slowly. All right. Now I want to see. Because the camera's going to keep shifting, isn't it? Because Shaw's car is going to be in the way, isn't it? So let's come around a bit further. Right, let's get the timing right. All right, okay. Yeah, there he's right. So just there, we've made contact. Now, I don't know if it's because the rear of the car needs to slide a little bit to make the turn. I don't know, but essentially, I really struggled then to turn the car any further into the apex. And then we got freed up. Let's watch it from the cockpit again. From my... Is that me? Yeah, that's me, isn't it? Let's listen in on that. Yeah, there's a very, very slight moment there where I have to... Just there. Come on, turn, you bugger. Yeah. Now, I don't think I could have done any more than that. I think my actual placement was pretty much where it should be. How much further could I have gone over? Yeah, I mean, I'm right on the apex there. I can't really do... Well, I could be over it maybe a little bit further, but I mean, I'm perfectly allowed to be where I am on the circuit. And if I was able to turn more, I would have been a little bit further over anyway. But yeah, I mean, he just hasn't really given me... I don't know, because I could be further over. I mean, it's a racing incident, isn't it, really? But it is interesting to know how his car just did not budge, did it? It was like, that was the line it was on. It was rock solid. My car is much more movable compared to theirs. And I really felt that. It really felt like I was up against something that was not able to move. So that was quite interesting. Right, I think I've got one more incident, but I'm not sure. I've just seen in the lap trace that Dunn drops down quite a lot towards the end of the race. So just going to have a quick look at that and see if I can find it. And I'll bring you that in just a moment. Okay, here we are then, looking at Dunn. He's number 3. Coming up to the hairpin at the end of the back straight. Oh, he's just locked up, look. That's so that's similar thing to what we saw at Road Atlanta, that, isn't it? Just a straightforward locking of the front wheels. Again, though, a car with ABS locking its front wheels. How quickly? Yeah, just too quick in. If you look at his overspeed on the car behind him, who's that? It's Taylor. Look, he's got a lot of overspeed on Taylor. He's just carried far too much speed in and just can't get the thing stopped. Again, you'd expect to see that in this class. That's a perfectly normal thing to expect to see. And then recovered it quite nicely, really. Yeah, so yeah, I think we've got some incidents here, but there isn't really anything that stands out as being wrong to me. There's some question marks there for me, which is the AI cars appear to be immovable, in that, you know, that they can tip me into a spin very easily. I can't really tip, you know, I can't move them, but they can move me, which is a question I don't think I'm alone in asking. And there's also this thing about, does the replay represent the locking of wheels correctly? And is what we're seeing a true reflection of what actually happened? So, for example, McKenna's one, it spun for seemingly no reason at all. But yet, Dunn's car locked up its front axle quite clearly and went straight on because it was going too quick into the corner. Now, both were perfectly legitimate scenarios, but why did McKenna's car spin without locking its wheels visibly in the replay, and Dunn's car go straight on with its front axle locked? So I've got some questions there, but I will raise those questions with Reiza and let them do what they do with it. But yeah, in the meantime, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for supporting. And until the next time, we'll see you later.